Hey all, so today as our warm-up, we're going to look at each algebraic expression and try to change the words into something that looks a little more mathy. So it says the difference of 10 and 5. That word difference is going to mean subtract. So I'm going to do 10 minus 5. Okay? It's looking for an expression, so it's asked for it without an equal sign. Don't finish it. The quotient of 14 and 7. This word quotient means divide. Okay. So we're going to do 14 divided by 7. This isn't the only way that you can write this. You could also write it as 14 over 7. And I'm sure a couple of you can come up with a few other ways. Here's the last popular one, 14 divided by 7. Okay, so 3 different ways right there. I don't care which one you like the best, just as long as if I gave you any of them, you know what they are. You decreased by 17. This decreased by means subtraction again. Okay, so I'm going to get u minus 17. Half of 14. So that half I'm going to write as a half times, because it's of 14. Okay, here's another one that we could have represented a bunch of different ways. So I could have represented it with 0.5 times 14. I also could have done 0.5 parenthesis 14. I could have done 14 divided by 2. So there's a lot of different ways that we could have done this. And it's important that you understand there are a lot of different ways you could have written it. X increased by. So increased by means going up. This is addition. So I get x plus 6. The product of x and 7, that word product means multiply. So you're looking for that multiplication sign. So x times 7, we can write it as 7x. We could just write it as 7x without the parenthesis this time because it's a variable. So lots of different ways again. The sum of q and 8, q plus 8, because sum means plus, it means add. 6 squared looks like this. I also would have taken 6 times 6. Okay? So now they want you to switch it. So they gave you the equation. They want you to give a verbal. For sake of time, I'm not going to write my verbal out, but you need to write it. So I will give an example for the first one, and then the rest of them you have to write, but I will not. The reason why you have to write it is because these are your notes. So a plus 9 is the sum of a and 9. Okay, so that's one way I could say it. I could also say A was increased by 9, and maybe a few of you are able to come up with some other creative ways or ideas. And if you want to go and check that by me, it might be worth a little bit of extra credit. 19 minus 3. We are not going to write 19 minus 3. We're going to write 19 decreased by 3. We're going to write the difference of 19 and 3. Okay, we want to start using those really academic vocab words. Okay, so like the decreased, the difference. Here I get multiplication, but I don't want to use the word multiplication. I want to use the fancy word, which would be product. So I'm going to say like the product of 5 and n. Okay. Here, we have this little power right there, that power of 2. So I can say that this is q to the power of 2, or like they said above when they were going the other way, it's q squared. On 14, I have a over 8, okay? But I'm not going to use the word over. I'm going to tell you that I know that that's not only a fraction, it's also a division. So I'm going to say the quotient of a and 8. X plus 8. I'm going to say that this is the sum of x and 8. I'm going to leave these last two for you to do, and I'm going to check them. Here I have evaluate. When it says evaluate, this means it's got to equal. Okay? So it is an expression, but now they're saying, hey, give us what it equals. So 5 squared, and I'm going to write this out as 5 squared. I'm going to put it in the mathy way. Equals 5 times 5, which is 25. The product of 8 and 10 equals 8 times 10. This is not good enough. You got to keep going. You have to get me to that one answer. Okay, I'm looking for that big equals like it's just by itself. So this is equals 80. 20 decreased by 17. That decrease means subtract. 20 minus 17 is 3. The quotient of 96 and 8 is a division problem. I'm going to leave this to you. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's probably my favorite number. Identify if the statement is an expression or an equation. Okay? So, difference between expression and equation. An equation has an equal sign. An expression does not. Okay? So I've used colors to distinguish mine. What I would like you to do is I want you to make sure that you wrote the words as well. Okay? So this is you taking notes. Make your notes better than what mine are right now. Circle the expressions and underline the equations. Circle the expressions and underline the equations. Okay? I'm actually going to erase this because it was a little too close. So my thought process as I'm doing this is I'm looking for an equal sign. So I'm looking at 26 and I'm like, does it have an equal sign? Does it have an equal sign? It does. So I'm going to underline it. It's an equation. So I'm looking at this. I'm looking, does it have an equal sign? Does it have an equal sign? Does it have an equal sign? No. I'm going to circle it. Okay. I am looking at this. I'm looking, does it have an equal sign? Does it have an equal sign? Yes. Equal sign is equation. Looking at this, does it have an equal sign? Does it have an equal sign? Does it have an equal sign? Yes. I'm going to underline it. How can you tell the difference between an expression and an equation? You should be able to tell me this, and you should be able to put it in words. So I'm going to look for this before we move on in class. That's your warm-up.